Today we're going to take on the topic of how to survive high school. And I know this is a really difficult topic to talk about, and if you're going through a hard time right now because you're in high school or maybe you just got out and aren't sure how to process it all, it may be really overwhelming. So I thought what I would do would be share a little bit about my own high school experience, and hopefully this can help give you some advice or just share basically how I made it through high school. Just start off by saying that if you are being bullied to like the point where you feel threatened, like you personally just feel like this person is not making you feel safe, like flat out just go talk to your school officials, talk to a teacher, talk to your parents, because I just want to say straight out right away that that type of behavior is in no ways acceptable and should never be justified. There's a big difference between being picked on and actually feeling like you're in danger physically, emotionally. So if you feel threatened, don't be afraid to speak out. So that's what I want to say straight up before I even jump in. Basically in high school, I had a really difficult time and I was bullied a lot, actually to the point where it got so bad that I actually had to switch schools. It's easy to say in retrospect why I think that happened. At the time, I don't think I entirely understood it, but the conclusion that I've come to is I've always been really opinionated and outspoken and just willing to say whatever I think. So I think automatically that set me up for people not to like me. But you know what? I wouldn't change anything about that. I still feel like those are a very core part of my personality. And I'm glad I didn't like give into pressure to change, because that's just not who I am. A lot of times when you're being bullied or picked on or harassed, it's because someone is intimidated by you or doesn't like what you're doing. But as long as you know that what you're doing you believe in, then it doesn't really matter what other people think. And I know that's a really difficult thing to say, but if you truly believe that what you're doing reflects who you are to the core of your personality, and this is just you and who cares what anyone says, then that's just who you have to be. Like, that's just truly how I felt, that that was my personality and I wasn't going to change. And the way you could kind of combat someone who's harassing you, you know, not to the point where you felt threatened, but maybe just being a jerk, is just combat it with logic. If you truly feel some way, stand up for it and just say that this is how it is, this is who I am, and too bad if you don't like it. Sometimes standing up for yourself alone isn't enough. One of the things that really helped me through a very difficult high school experience were my friends. And at my first school, I had a really good group of girlfriends, and at my second school, I had a really good group of girlfriends too. I'm actually still friends with mostly all of them. If you could find people, like, it doesn't even have to be a group. If it could just be like one friend that you truly trust and rely on and depend on, and you could tell them things that you can't tell other people, that makes all the world a difference, because you know that someone understands you, and also it's someone who has your back. You know, whether that person is willing to speak out against your aggressor, or someone who just can listen to you when you're upset or you just need to vent, that person is there for you. And I know sometimes it can be really hard to talk to an adult, and you know, the old advice of, oh, well, tell your parents, or, you know, tell your guidance counselor when you're being picked on. Yeah, if it is serious, you should definitely do that. But a lot of times, like, I felt really like, oh, well, I don't want to tell anyone. I felt like if I could tell my friends what was going on and they could give me advice or even stand up for me, I felt like that made all the world a difference. So if you have at least one good friend that you could depend on, that is an excellent way to go. Another good thing is to have like an adult role model, and this person could be your parent, it could be your sibling, it could be your neighbor, it could really be anyone that you look up to, you know, maybe even someone you know online. I had my older sister, and when I was growing up, she was like a huge part of my life. Obviously she still is, and she was just like my role model, and I would tell her what was going on in school, but she would say, you know, one day you'll be in college and you won't have to deal with any of this. So someone who could just like kind of keep high school in perspective, because at the time that it's happening, it could feel like the end of the world. And if you have someone in your life who could say, one day you won't have to deal with all this, in 2 years, in 3 years, in 4 years, this will be over and you'll be moving on to the next thing. So someone could kind of share what they went through. And if you don't have someone in your life, I'm telling you right now that if you're going through a hard time in high school, one day you won't be in high school. It will be over, and you'll probably be really happy that it's over. but it's not forever. So whatever horrible things you're going through right now, a year might seem like a lot, but in the long run, it's really not. The next thing I would recommend is doing something that gets you outside of yourself, and by that I mean something like volunteering or maybe even a hobby. I volunteered a lot in high school. We were required to because the second school I went to was actually a Catholic school. I really took to volunteering because a big part of my personality has always been helping others. Volunteering or even pursuing a hobby is a really great way not to focus on high school and the horrible ways people might treat you, or the pain you're going through, or the classes that you hate, or the teachers that you don't like. If you could find something outside of school that gets you from focusing on yourself to focusing on others, or maybe a different activity, I'd recommend doing that. And I really remember like a lot of the opportunities I had, and it just really made me feel good. If you could do something that makes you feel good, you know, maybe you play soccer, or you really like painting, or you want to learn how to edit movies, or you want to start a blog, or anything you're interested in, just try to do something that doesn't focus you only on you. When you step outside yourself and focus on an activity like volunteering or hobby, you could really kind of reset your mind and just flourish. That would be my 4 main pieces of advice. Be yourself, have good friends, have an older role model, just step outside yourself. So if you are struggling with high school, I hope that these tips and this advice was able to help you a little bit. I know this is just a really hard time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you later.